listening to the What the Wrestling Podcast, the show that brings you all things wrestling with your host, RJD.
Perfect.
Oh, you already know what time it is. What the wrestling is here. RJD, I am your host. Check out the socials on the screen because we got a lot to get into. This is mostly going to be a rant. So just get your popcorn ready.
Perfect.
So, like I was saying, get your popcorn ready. This is mostly going to be a rant. Check out the screen. You see the socials. You see what's good. So let us keep it moving that way. Matter of fact, let's get rid of that. And that should be good. It is a beautiful day. Was not a beautiful night for Monday Night Raw. So without further ado, let us get into it. RJD on RJD underscore 199 on Instagram, RJ699 on Twitter, RJD 199 on Snapchat. What the Wrestling, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. As always, I said what the Wrestling on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. And as always, follow me at What the Wrestling on Spotify and Anchor. Let's go. Yes. Tis I, RJD here. Welcome to What the Wrestling. This is the place where we talk about all things wrestling. And man, what the hell is going on Monday night?
You've activated my trap card!
All right, let's get back to regularly scheduled programming. This mic still isn't in my house, and this shit is pissing me the fuck off. But I'm gonna have to make some modifications to my computer and deep dive into why it's acting like an asshole. But technology, can't live with it, can't live without it. All right, first things first. Hit that like button. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you see me look over constantly, it's because I need to make sure my sound does not cut out. I already had one cut out already, and it's in a very lightning fast USB port, and I'm not understanding this. But you didn't come here to hear about my problems. Let's talk about Sasha Banks and Naomi and why they walked out.
Surprise, motherfucker.
So, let's break this down piece by piece. First things first. WWE star Sasha Banks and her tag team partner Naomi walked out of Raw during the live event on Monday Night Raw in Norfolk, Virginia. I believe that's cap number 1 because there are also reports that. Matter of fact, let me read this first and then we'll get into the cap and the buffoonery that is this WWE nonsense. According to WWE, the pair arrived at Scope Arena Monday and were informed that they were going to be a part of a 6-pack challenge match to determine the number 1 contender to face Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Moving on. The plan did not sit well with Banks. According to reports, Banks had an issue with the match because the creative department had planned to have Naomi win the match and lose to Belair. Banks took her concerns to the WWE chairman Vince McMahon, who chose not to change any plans. He didn't budge, she didn't budge. We had ourselves a good old-fashioned stalemate. Fightful Select reported that Banks would challenge Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship on the same night and also lose the match. So, then they put out this statement. During the broadcast, they walked into WWE headquarters, head of talent relations, John Laurinaitis' office with their suitcases in hand, placed their tag team championship belts on the desk and walked out. They claimed they weren't respected enough as tag team champions, and even though they had 8 hours to rehearse and construct their match, they claimed that they were uncomfortable in the ring with 2 of their opponents, even though they'd had matches with those individuals in the past with no consequence. Okay. So, quote unquote, Monday Night Raw is a scripted live TV show whose characters are expected to perform the requirements of their contract. WWE said, we regret we were unable to deliver as advertised tonight's main event. Okay. Stop the show. This statement they issued is bullshit. Let's start from the obvious. We regret we were unable to deliver as advertised tonight's main event. How many goddamn times have they changed the main event in the past 6 months? What?
You've activated my trap card!
Stop the cap, man.
Get the fuck out of here!
Now I understand you're doing this and you're putting this statement out to say face and control the narrative. Oh, these 2 evil wrestlers, they left and they were unprofessional and they didn't live up and follow their contracts and they walked out on all the people. Bullshit. Bullshit. Okay? There is a gray area here. But for WWE to try and paint this narrative like, oh, they were unprofessional and we don't know why they walked out. They were expected to do this and they were expected to do that. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Get the fuck out of here!
Cap. Cap, cap, cap. So that bullshit about unable to deliver as advertised, they do that shit all the time. The second thing that I'm shocked about in this statement is that they said Monday Night Raw is a scripted live TV show whose characters are expected to perform the requirements of their contract. The fact that they said this is a scripted TV show because they're trying to move over into sports and they want to be listed as sports entertainment or sports. They don't want to be listed as drama, and they were listed as drama for a while there on USA. But the sports being listed as sports gets you more money. So the fact that they even said this in a statement is like, I'm blown away by that. That's surprising. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Surprise, motherfucker.
That's surprising. Now during the broadcast, they walked into John Laurinaitis' office with suitcases, placed their tag team championship belts on the desk, and walked out. They claimed they weren't being respected enough as tag team champions. Okay, so Sasha, let's go to Ringside News now. Now that was TMZ. Let's go to Ringside News. Sasha Banks and Naomi walking out of last night's Raw has been a major story in pro wrestling. Two of the WWE's women's division's biggest stars simply dropped their WWE Tag Champions off at the desk in John Laurinaitis' office and left the arena. The WWE Universe has been hungry for answers. We were told that Sasha Banks and Naomi's issues largely were concerns about direction of the tag team division as a whole. Okay. There's not a lot that's going on, but here are some of the things that I heard. Some stuff from Meltzer, Dave Meltzer, shout out to him. Some stuff from Brian Alvarez, some stuff from Fightful Select. There have been mixed reports about this all over the place, even from Wrestle Talk. Shout out to Wrestle Talk. They had an excellent breakdown of this on their podcast and the timeline of it all. And they even have a text. No, not a text. My bad.
Nope.
They even have somebody who follows Naomi and who Naomi follows, and they put up a conversation. They put up basically some answers on some insight about what happened. They said they got permission. The person that they were referring to said that he had permission to put it up, and he put it up on Twitter. Awesome. Here's what it looks like happened. Because there were reports also that came out that they left way before the show started, and that they tried to get in contact with everyone, like all the producers, before they even got the Vince. They tried to get in contact with a bunch of people. So WWE is painting them as they just walked out for no goddamn reason, just like they tried to do with Austin back in the day. But that was bullshit. So let's keep it 100. What happened is this, from what it looks like. Now, and we don't know. This is just pure speculation on my part. What I think happened. They walked up in there. They were supposed to, and this is not a one-time occurrence. These ladies didn't just say, you know what? I think I want to leave today.
Get the fuck out of here!
No, that's not what happened. This has probably been building up for a very long time. And let me stop the show again. Shout out to Sasha Banks, because the fact that this is happening again to Sasha Banks is astonishing. And let me tell you why. Remember a couple of years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, Sasha Banks and Bayley got the tag team titles. Yes? Yes. They were told that they were going to be able to use and fight for those tag team titles in NXT, WWE, SmackDown, and Raw. They were told, you're going to be able to take the titles and go do what you want to do and go to NXT and fight for them and go to SmackDown and fight for them. And they were made promises. This is the quotes that came out. They were made promises that they were going to be able to do all of that stuff and defend the title on all the brands and actually make something of a division and showcase women's tag team wrestling. They were told that shit didn't happen. I think they did that, and then they lost the goddamn titles to the Iconics. Nothing against the Iconics, but the Iconics should not have beat those ladies for the tag titles. Sasha Banks got mad. She bounced, took about 6 months off, got her mind right, and then she came back. Cool. Fast forward to today. The same shit is happening. Now, I don't know if these ladies were promised that they were going to do something, but the same thing is happening. Listen to what they said. They felt like they were not being respected as champions. Yes, we know WWE isn't real per se. We know it's a scripted show and it's the wrestlers are predetermined, but that doesn't matter. If they still have to go out there and perform, they still have to do what they have to do, and if she went in there and she was talking about, listen, what are we doing after this? Why is Naomi set to beat me? Now listen, I understand where Sasha's coming from. I understand. If they went up in there and said, listen, you want me to do the job to Naomi? Why? Naomi's supposed to win? Great. But why would Naomi beat me? And then on TV, excuse me, on TV, that's going to come across as you're going to break us up. Because best believe, they definitely were going to break them up. I don't give a goddamn what nobody says. Whenever they start doing shit like that and teasing dissension, that means that you're going to be breaking up soon. Nobody can convince me otherwise. We've seen it happen too many times in WWE. That's first and foremost. So, Sasha's trying to build up these belts and build up these titles and make them mean something. Naomi's doing great work. She deserves a title shot. Sasha's always doing great work. She's great at what she does. And then you're going to have her beat her for no apparent reason in a 6-pack challenge. And I understand why she would be upset about that, because it's like, that shit makes no sense. Then they changed the finish, and then maybe I think Mickey ASH was supposed to be pinned, and then they changed it again, and then apparently they got in touch with Vince and everybody else, and then they changed it. Cool. And then they got in touch with something else happened, and then they got in touch with Vince again, and John Laurinaitis and Vince, and they had a meeting again. And the second time they complained, because I guess they changed the original finish, and then the second time they complained, they were told to shut up and stop being spoiled. No quotes here, but basically they were told to shut up and wrestle. You're being spoiled. Now, that's no way to talk to people. I've been in environments where people have said stuff like that on the job. Not cool, not a good look. If words like that were uttered, then yeah, that's a bad look. But if there was a shouting match back and forth because Sasha and Naomi wanted things a certain way and Vince wanted it a certain way, and then they said, fuck it, I'm out, you know what I'm saying?
Get the fuck out of here!
They just basically was like,
fuck this shit, I'm out.
If that happened like that, I understand. This is not a one-time thing. For people to get to that point where they want to walk out of their promotion, that means it's been building and building and building and building and building. That means they are frustrated as hell. Because one incident does not make somebody walk out. Either they're burnt out, the creative is trash, the cash is trash, or they need a break and don't know how to say it, so they just say, fuck this, I'm out of here. And that was the excuse. Sasha Banks, and you know what's crazy? No, let me finish this first. Sasha Banks gives a shit. If you watch this woman in any interview she does about wrestling, she gives a shit. She loves wrestling. She wants to be one of the best, if not the best, women's wrestlers. She gives a shit. She wants people to appreciate her work. She wants things to make sense. And I don't give a shit what that statement says by WWE. All that means is, when people actually stand up and they say, yo, this is stupid, I'm not doing this, they label them as difficult to work with, a la Keith Lee. But you put him in a fucking Bearcat uniform and had him growling like a fucking tiger instead of using him like they used him in NXT, like he was on the indies. A big man who can do little man things. How the hell can you not get that over, but you put him in a fucking Bearcat outfit? But you want to say creative is great, though.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Come on, man.
Stop the cap.
So, enough with the bull. That's bullshit. People are not difficult to work with. You give them shit creative, they're going to speak up and say, this is stupid. Now listen, Ryan Alvarez had a good point. He said people are giving People are giving stupid shit all the time, and they make it work. A la Kevin Owens, a la Sami Zayn. People are giving dumb shit all the time. Even John Cena back in the day said something similar. He said, listen, sometimes you get chicken shit and you need to go out there and make chicken soup. I know I'm paraphrasing the quote he said, but he says sometimes writers have handed me chicken shit and I have to make it into chicken soup. I understand that. But what Jim Ross said is absolutely true. Like, people get irritated in this business over cash or creative. Sounds a lot here like it was creative. Naomi and Sasha Banks want to do more with the tag titles. That's admirable. I love the fact that they want to do more with the title. Obviously, you can tell because they're talking about where's the creative? Why? What are we doing next? Okay, you want me to beat her? What are we doing with these titles? Why did you give us the titles? That we want to do more with the titles. So when they go and express these concerns, and they were saying that there's two people that they didn't want to work with. They didn't say unsafe, but they were saying they didn't want to work with them. I'm not getting into all that. That's speculation. Who knows? More will come out in the next coming days and weeks and shit. But you ain't about to sit here and tell me that these two don't want to do more with the titles. They want to do more with the damn titles. Not just have them sitting there and sitting and catering for 6 freaking months. But to WWE's defense, they were being used. Naomi was about to get a title shot. Sasha was about to get a title shot. They were going to be pushed to the mainstream. So, well, pushed to the top of the card, pretty much. So, on one hand, I understand the creative frustration. But on the other hand, WWE is going to paint it like, yo, listen, what do you want us to do? We were going to give you a title shot, You were going to rep the tag team titles. You're going to be, you're both getting title shots and being pushed to the front of the card in prominent roles. What more do you want from us? What more can we do for you? How much more do we have to give? That's going to be WWE side of it. That's going to be how they spin it. Best believe that's going to be how they spin it. It is 100%. So, with that being said, I truly believe that Sasha and Naomi, I think both things are true. I mean, they told, what's the name, Moxley to go out there as Bane and do needle in the ass, dumb shit, and I mean, a lot of that stuff he made work, and he did it. It came across stupid on TV, even he'll say that, but he still did it. So could they have still done it and then voice their opinions after, and then say, yo, listen, we did that once, we're not doing that shit again. And if you think we're going to do it again, we're not showing up to SmackDown. Oh, you got a problem with that? All right, we're not showing up. Could they have did it that way? Yes. But could they have did it the way they did it and stood up for what they believed in and took a stand and drew a line in the sand and said, yo, we're not doing this bullshit. We're not doing this. Even, listen, former Ember Moon, now Athena, she said the same shit. She's like, yo, what did I do wrong? Oh, nothing. We just got nothing for you. She said, listen, I'm not doing this dumb shit. I started losing because I was trying to help y'all out. I started losing so I could put other people over and help them out because there was going to be something on the back end that was going to allow me to reinvent myself. Now you guys are telling me I got to go, I'm supposed to show up here and do shit. Don't call me unless you got something for me. I ain't coming. And she just, quote unquote, I think I just quit my job. So, listen, Sasha Banks and Naomi walking out, making a statement. They were told, I mean, there are things said on Twitter that they tried to talk to everybody, that they tried to do what they wanted to have everything on point. They tried to fix things, and Sasha wouldn't back down, and Vince wouldn't back down. And you know what? I'm sure they got Vince's respect because they stood up for themselves. Let me see if I can pull something else up. Hold on. I'm gonna see if there was another article, because there was another one I saw. Let's go, let's go. So this
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
all right, let's go, let's go. So, as I was stating, I had to do a quick intermission. I'm gonna get through this and then I'm gonna fix my sound. But this whole notion that they just did this shit for no reason and that they're difficult to work with is bullshit. Um, so the original plans, 6-pack challenge, Naomi would get the win at Hell in a Cell. Banks and Naomi would have been featured in segments. That would have been great. And Banks was supposed to get to Ronda and lose. So it was also noted concerns regarding the creativity over the WWE Women's Tag Titles. And later in the afternoon, an alternative idea was pitched that would have seen Banks and Naomi lose a short match to set up the next challengers. PW Insight couldn't confirm it was 100%. They noted the source told them the planned opponents were Doudrop and Nikki ASH, who were at one point scheduled for the 6-pack challenge. And another thing, stop the show, because this is another thing. They didn't need the tag team champions in that show. You already had women that were on Raw. Why did you take the tag team champions from SmackDown and add them into this challenge when you had Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Shayna Baszler, and like, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? You didn't need the tag team champions in this match at all. Okay, so the report goes on to say that Sasha Banks and Naomi were told before Raw by the producer Molly Holly that WWE was going forward with the plans for the 6-pack challenge. This then led to Banks and Naomi informing Executive Vice President of Talent Relations, John Laurinaitis, that they were leaving, giving him the WWE Women's Tag Titles in the process. The report echoes WWE sentiment regarding the matter Monday. From there, it was said that Vince McMahon was informed that Banks and Naomi's departure, either shortly before or after Raw began. So, like I said, Cap, they've been left.
Stop the cap.
They left before Raw. So all this shit happened before Raw. So, like I said, in this report on WrestlingInc.com, the plans were changed. Whatever they argued for, they won. They came in the next day, and then the shit went back to normal. So they got tight. They got tight. They were like,
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
word. That's what happened. And then they just had the match between Asuka and Becky because they've been fighting on house shows anyway. So they don't believe that the issue was the finish. They believe that the issue was the creative. At first, it was the creative. Yeah, at first it was creative, and then, shit got switched. So they left. And you know what? Good for them. Good for them.
You've activated my trap card.
Yo. So I'm not gonna get through this Monday Night Raw, so we're gonna cut this short. But this is the big news coming out of Monday Night Raw. I will do a quick recap of a Monday Night Raw review tomorrow, but my mic is acting crazy and it keeps cutting off. So I'm not gonna get through another 30 minutes and 40 minutes of this. So we're gonna cut it short. But kudos to them. Good for them standing up what they believe in. Listen, if you're going to stand up for what you believe in, you better be able to face the consequences, and best believe there will be consequences to this, but if they're ready to face them, they did what they had to do. Okay? They were told they had concerns. The concerns were switched. Then Vince switched them back to his way. Sasha said, I'm not doing that. Vince said, I'm not changing it. And then they walked out. Gave the belts to John Laurinaitis and walked out. Do I think Sasha's going to leave? Hell no. Sasha ain't going nowhere, and if they wanted to let her out her contract, they ain't doing that, because she's going to walk right into AEW and walk right into Hollywood. And Naomi, they ain't getting rid of her because of her affiliation with the Bloodline, who's the biggest thing in the company right now. So, that's dead. But here's one thing I will say before I leave. Sasha Banks, she's destined for movies. She's an attractive woman. She was on The Mandalorian. She was on another show. Kevin Hart specifically asked for her for his show. So, Sasha Banks has a lot of things ahead of her. Now listen. Something happens with WWE. Her name is Mercedes. She's still going to be cool. She's still going to be the boss. And she's still, regardless of whatever, a crossover star. I just find it funny. John Cena, no problem. You want to go do things, no problem. Triple H, you want to go do things, no problem. We'll promote it. When Batista went and got into movies, they laughed at him. They didn't believe in him. He did Guardians of the Galaxy. They didn't promote that shit. But they want to promote John Cena shit. They want to promote The Miz. Sasha Banks is in The Mandalorian, a huge show. Huge. They don't promote that shit. Sasha Banks is doing some other stuff. They don't promote that shit. But they promote John Cena. They promote Triple H when he was doing movies. They promoted they want to put Charlotte out there on Front Street. You see, CM Punk said it best. It's better to ask for forgiveness than to beg for permission. Because WWE will say, oh no, we don't want you in movies, oh no. But then they'll give your movie to somebody else. You see, that's the thing. They'll give your role to somebody else. They'll put somebody else in that spot that they want instead of putting you in that spot. And I'm noticing that shit with Sasha Banks. Call me wrong. Tell me I'm crazy. Did you see any promotion for Mandalorian? I didn't. If I did, it was very minor. But you see Miz and Mrs. and you see John Cena was promoted crazy. You didn't see no Guardians of the Galaxy promotion with Batista? I didn't. Did you? Did you? And Batista was full-time at that time. That was right before the Daniel Bryan stuff happened. Right before he put Bryan over at WrestleMania. So you see, it's a pattern. They did the same shit with Punk. They didn't want Punk in that spot. but they put somebody else in that spot. And look at Punk now, slowly dipping into acting, doing a fantastic job. He's on Mayans and he's on heels. And I think he's doing other stuff too. So, tell you, man, WWE, they funny style. All right, listen, I'll call them out when they do something good, but when it sounds like BS to me, we're gonna call it cap.
Stop the cap.
So we're gonna see what happens with this development. I promise you, I will give you the Monday Night Raw review tomorrow. I don't want to keep cutting in and out because my mic and my sound is cutting in and out. I will get this fixed. My mic is en route. I don't have it yet, so maybe I should have just, Amazon. Let me not even say that. So I'm out of here. RJD, once again, check out the socials. Everybody be safe. Enjoy this beautiful, beautiful week in New York City. I am out. Peace.
Dom DeMarco.